Canela, dinner's ready. Canela. I grabbed a small bag sitting on the counter next to me. It's filled with trash from the mill, a habit I was taught young that I've never lost. I make my way over to the can and go to throw it away when I pause. The trash bag's missing. He must be outside. Is tomorrow trash day? That came from outside. He's outside. Without a second thought, I take off running. I burst through the door and out into the cold, damp air. It had been raining. Maybe one of those 18-wheelers hydroplaned and what I heard was some terrible accident. Would he be anywhere near that? Our road isn't busy, but what if... There he is. I stop. He's just standing in the road. I quickly glance around, and from what I can tell, there's no big car accident. No 18-wheeler twisted around a lamp pole or anything else I'd been imagining. I walk over to him, carefully avoiding any puddles left over from the day. Hey, you okay? Hey. I grab his hand and shake it, but there's no response. I'm standing right in front of him now, and he's not even looking at me. I wave my hand in front of his face, and still nothing. He just stares. He stares up and over me. He stares into the sky, into the stars. A buzzing builds in my body, making me feel like every cell in my body is alive and thrashing around. I feel ready to take off running while also feeling stuck in place. I have to look. I shouldn't not look. He's staring at something. I have to see what it is. I'm short of breath, so I pause for a moment and just breathe. I slowly turn around, looking over my shoulder and up into the sky. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing there. If anything, I see less than usual. I can't see any of the stars tonight. Not that there are many to see in the first place. The moon looks a little bigger, but some supermoon producing so much light you can't even see the few stars isn't exactly something to freeze in the middle of the street over. I turn back to him. Dude, come on. You're scaring me. We're not alone. I don't know how I've just noticed. There's a couple of other neighbors outside. I don't know if they were already out here or if the sound brought them out, but there are a handful of people outside and every single one of them is looking up into the sky. Just frozen in time, staring at nothing. Movement. My eyes flick over to the sidewalk. Someone's coming outside. So at least I'm not the only one capable of moving. Which, now that I think about it, is a very real concern I hadn't yet considered. Eric? She calls out. Eric, yes, that's his name. I remember that from the few times we've spoken. Cecile, that's her name. Eric is standing at the end of their driveway, staring into the sky. She goes over to him and goes through almost the exact same series of events as me. Calling to him, trying to move him, looking up into the sky, repeating his name. Well, I actually never got to that part. I got distracted by everyone else before I could even mutter his name once. Hey, she calls out to me now. Jeremiah, right? Do you know what the hell is... I saw the exact moment something caught her eye. Something in the sky. She begins to stare. He's the one making that sound. Well, why is he doing that? What even is that? Everyone out here joins in, one by one. They all just stare and groan. I go to take another look to see if I just missed something the first time, but movement catches my eye once more. It isn't a neighbor this time. No, the movement comes from a sizable puddle on the ground. There's nothing in it, it's what puddle's reflecting that's moving. Is the moon growing? No, it can't be. It's the moon. And yet, then the two dark waves come. Two massive waves of darkness sweeping over the moon, blocking out its light before retreating once more. No, that's not right. That can't be. No. The buzzing comes back. My entire body feels like it's vibrating and my mind's going haywire. My body's physically reacting to my mind trying to process what I just saw. Those weren't waves of darkness. No, I recognize what they are now. I have them myself. That isn't the moon at all. The sky itself had just blinked. In 1963, renowned SETI researcher Frank Drake and famous scientific communicator Carl Sagan completed the creation of the Arecibo Radio Telescope in Puerto Rico. On November 16, 1974, the Arecibo Observatory sent out the strongest signal ever beamed into space. We sent a message out into infinity, out into the void. One might ask the question, what would happen if the void were to answer? The Idiotically Spooky Place proudly presents The Sky Blinked. Chapter 1: Evolution. I stay still. This is my little ritual now. I listen out for any signs of something out there, watching me, waiting. Nothing. Or at least I don't think so. I lock the door behind me, take the steps down to the sidewalk and begin my walk. It's dangerous, and it's stupid, but I go on a walk every single day. I feel like I have to. If I don't, I imagine I just slowly go mad. There's not much to see. I don't know if there ever was much to see, but there definitely isn't anything to see now. I've seen plenty of movies where everything is overgrown and covered in cool foliage and stuff, but in reality it's kinda lame. It just looks dirty. At least here. I'm sure it looks cool somewhere. I keep walking past useless cars and collapsing houses, comparing how everything looks now to how it used to. I try to keep the memories alive to the best of my ability, but with every passing month, they fade more and more. At some point, this right in front of me will be all I remember. Weeds climbing up walls and wrapping around anything it can reach. Bikes and other small toys left behind by kids that are hopefully playing somewhere safe now, and plants I've never seen before. I wouldn't be able to teach anyone how to spot the alien plants or anything like that, but I can tell the difference between plants that were always of this earth and plants that didn't grow until the thing arrived. I look up into the sky, scanning. There are a good number of clouds today, but that's not what I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see what's beyond the clouds. Either way, I don't think it's here today. I don't see any sign of it. It should be over East Africa, Southern Asia, and Australia, I believe. I don't know. I just know I hate looking at the thing, and yet every time I step out of the house, my eyes go straight up. I pause. I've heard that sound before. I think it belongs to one of the calmer evolutions. The thing that used to be a cow, no? Wait, no. Is that from the violent one? The dude with the knives growing from his back? No. He sounds like he's in constant agony. This wasn't that, I don't think. I can hear it drawing closer as the slow, steady series of thuds increase in volume. That's pretty reassuring. The more hostile evolutions tend to be more sporadic. I'm near the end of a street, and I'm all but certain that whatever I'm hearing is around the house not far from me. I walk quietly but with speed, a skill I've thankfully mastered after it came, saving me from many an untimely death. I stay close to the wall, making my way to the corner. I duck down, just in case, my hand instinctively going to the hilt at my waist. I tilt my head just enough to see around the corner, hoping that whatever this is doesn't spot me. I can see the car. It's bent in the middle, glass scattering the ground, and as my eyes pan across the vehicle, I see it. It's not an evolved cow or an evolved, if you can call it that, knife man. It's a tortoise, I think. I step out from my hiding place, letting my hand relax and drop from the hilt. I found the sword while exploring someone's house one day. I can't tell if it's a replica or custom made, but I like it. It has a nice comforting weight to it, and there's a little rose carved into it. What more can someone ask for? I technically don't know how to use it properly, and library books can only get you so far, but I occasionally practice outside, and I think I'm getting the hang of it. The important part is that the sharp and pointy parts hit the thing attacking you. But I don't need the sword for the gentle giant lumbering in front of me. This tortoise is about the size of a car. Its shell is a thing of beauty. It looks as if it were made from a giant geode with crystals peeking through in patches. It swings its head around to look at me, and I hold my hands up, slowing my approach. A thought flashes through my head. What if this is a snapping turtle? But those fears are diminished when I look in its eyes. There's a calmness in them that washes over me. Hello. What's your name? It just stares at me. I smile and finally make the move to touch it. I let my hand softly run over the thick shell. It exudes the warmth of the sun shining down on it. I know this isn't very creative, but how about I call you Crystal? It turns its head forward and resumes their journey. I decide to walk alongside it for a bit. You know, I used to be creative once. There was a time where being so felt worthwhile, you know? I don't know if it is anymore. Some people are in the mindset that all of these evolutions are dangerous and should be feared, but I'm not convinced. Yes, they are not like they were before, but that's not inherently bad. A lot of these creatures follow rules very similar to the rules in place before everything. Yes, they can be violent and territorial and whatnot, but they can also be like Crystal here, just walking down the street without a care in the world. The walk back home was uneventful. No evolutions, peaceful or otherwise. Just me and the slightly different sounds of nature. I enter my home and take a breath, looking around. I still try to keep everything neat and in order. Yes, Outside, everything's overgrown and vines are wrapped around this house as much as any other, but inside is a completely different story. I didn't want to draw any attention by keeping the outside looking too nice. And I also just hate yard work. But inside, I wanted to keep at least a hint of normalcy. Branching right off from the entrance hall is the living room. I still keep my couch, coffee table, and extra chairs in. There's a TV stand as well, but the TV is long gone. The electricity didn't last long at all. I still remember hearing the explosion way off in the distance one night. I think I was holding on to some kind of hope that things were salvageable until I saw that fireball from my bedroom window. Now, instead of a TV, I have a pad of giant art paper I found one day. Sometimes I try to make something, but I'm usually just lost when I sit in front of it. I head straight down the hall instead, going to the dining room that leads right into the kitchen. I browse my shelves looking for dinner inspiration. I only really have fruits and vegetables from my garden, but I like to have fun with how I combine them. Now, what could have done that? The sound came from outside, and I debate peeking through the windows. It's not much of a gamble. I doubt anything would be able to see me, but it still technically is one. As is usual, my curiosity gets the best of me, and I find myself at a window before really thinking. I part the curtain I have up, scanning the road outside for any sign of whatever that was. There's a flash of movement and my eyes snap over. It's a person. Huh. Get away from me! They stoop down and pick up a rock, throwing it at something behind them. A spider comes skittering from around a car, taking a hit from the rock without much reaction. I hate spiders, especially now that they're usually the size of a beagle. I should probably go help. I take off for the front door. The moment I step out, our eyes meet. Come on, I shout, motioning them towards me. Whoever they are reroutes, an actual visible goal giving them a surge of energy. They skip almost all of the steps up to the door and practically dive through. I quickly slam the door shut, locking it. The spider slamming against the door causes me to jump back, but we're fine. I know we are. I try not to think about the spider as I hear it crawling up the wall and onto the roof. Instead, turn my attention to the unexpected visitor. They're still catching their breath as I help them up from the floor. Thank you, they say. No problem. I don't exactly know what to say next, but I should be the first to talk, right? Just so you know, I don't think you were in any real danger. That was just a zebra spider. I think it thought you were playing or something. Well, that's reassuring, I think. I haven't introduced myself. Why haven't I introduced myself? I'm Jeremiah, by the way. Nice to meet you. I hold my hand out. You can call me Cinder. Cinder takes my hand and we shake. I probably shouldn't be fixated on the pause, but I am. I use, sorry, I don't think I've ever done this before. I think I'd like to use they, them pronouns. No problem. Would you like something to drink? Yeah, that'd be great. What do you have? I think back for a second. I guess I did make it sound as if there were options. I have Apocalypse Water and that's it, really. Apocalypse Water is great. I leave them to go get the water. I shouldn't have done that. I backtrack. The living room is right through that door if you want to take a seat. Now I can leave. Right past the kitchen, I've put together a little water system. There's a giant jug filled with water I've boiled and filtered through some towels. It's nothing fancy, but it sure does get the job done. The water I filter comes from collected rainwater and trips to a nearby river a little over a mile away. I fill a cup up and bring it to Cinder, who's sitting on the couch in the living room, probably feeling just as uncomfortable as I am. Thank you, they say as they accept the water. I should probably take the sword off my hip. I would imagine it makes people uncomfortable, no? I unlatch the hilt and take it off my hip, observing it quickly for any imperfections before putting it on a ledge above the fireplace. Is that a sword? I didn't know you had a sword. I guess I should have kept it on. Yeah, I found it one day and just decided to keep it. Why? Why keep the sword? Because the sky blinked and now there's a knife man I have to protect myself against? Sorry, I just got here. Knife man? Their question is genuine. I feel like it shouldn't be. One of those things out there. Some poor dude that now grows knives out of his back like quills or something. Things? The evolutions? You know? I'm sorry, but how could you not know what I'm talking about right now? They sit there for a second, thinking. They look up at me. Sorry, I think I get what you mean now. I just never had a name for them. Odd. That's an odd answer. But at this point, wouldn't it be a little strange if people weren't odd? Do you live near here? I ask, taking a seat in one of the armchairs. No. I waited a moment for any supplemental information, but it never comes. Do you know someone who lives here or used to live around here? No. I can't stop my eyes from squinting a little. Then what are you doing here? They look up at me, and it's almost as if they're debating what to tell me with themselves. I'm looking for my brother. So you did know someone who lived around here? No, I don't. But I guess I know where they might be? I can't hide my confusion. They didn't live here, but I believe that they'll be at the center of all this. They wanted to see if they could stop it. I think to myself for a moment. Their brother really thought that he could stop all of this? Just undo months of horror? How in the world would he do that? There are two options before me. Either send Cinder on their way, pointing them in some general direction, or I go forward on the sliver of hope that whoever this is can actually fix things. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But then I'd be putting myself in danger. Real danger. I look them in the eyes. I know place they may have headed. There's a village about a day's walk from here. More importantly, that village is at the bottom of a mountain. On that mountain, there's a plateau, and lightning strikes that plateau over and over and over again. All day, all night. No one knows why. If there was to be a center to all of this, then that's the only place that comes to mind for me. Is there something wrong with the village? Cinder asks. No, the people in the village are just other survivors. They've been nothing but nice to me when I visited. You've visited? All the time. There's a question in their eyes. One I don't exactly want to answer. I just prefer to be by myself. Cinder shrugs. Well, then my only question is, am I going alone or will I have a guide? We leave tomorrow. Cinder smiles. We ate dinner, mostly in silence. We talked a little here and there, but I wasn't exactly expecting a visitor, so I'm sure I was more awkward than usual. I showed them the room they could stay in, and before long I was in bed myself. As I thought over everything we need to pack in the morning, I slowly drifted off to sleep. I snap up in my bed and listen. I swore I just heard something. All I can hear are crickets and whatever other critters are out there. It's not the critters I'm worried about. I know they can't get in. It's other more persistent things that worry me. I slip out of bed, quickly and quietly throwing on my clothes just in case I have to go outside. I drop a flashlight into my pocket. My ears stay alert, but there aren't any sounds out of place. I grab my sword and strap it to my hip. I peek my head out into the dark hall. It's still, silent. I step out, and within a few steps I'm at the guest's door. Normally, I would probably knock before entering, but I don't think making a lot of noise is in my best interest right now. I slowly open the door, quietly looking into the room. Cinder sits at the window, looking outside. They're fully dressed. Clothes, shoes, everything. I'm not sure they were ever even sleeping. There's something outside. Cinder didn't even look at me as they spoke. Their voices colder. A little bit of its life seems drained away. It's staring up at your window. I think you should back away from the window, I say. What? So you can attack it with your sword? Despite the snark, they back away from the window, making their way to me. What do you suggest we do now? There's no fear in their eyes. How? Are you okay, Cinder? They practically wince at the name. Yes, I'm... Their head pans around to the window. Stay still. My eyes flick up. Outside on the other side of the glass are a set of golden pinpricks. Eyes staring up at me. Eyes I haven't seen for a few weeks. I freeze, holding still as if my life depended on it. Thank you for listening to Chapter 1 of The Sky Blinked. Chapter 2 should be out next Tuesday. Hopefully my acting will get better by then. But until then, thank you. And happy Halloween!